Open Educational Resources, or OER Overview, brought to you from the Robert R. Muntz Library at UT Tyler. OER are educational resources that are freely available for use, reuse, adaptation, and sharing. Some OER reside in the public domain, while others have been released under an open licensing to allow for sharing, adapting, and redistributing. OER can include textbooks, handouts, streaming video, software, and entire curated courses, plus supplementary materials like syllabi, lecture notes, online media, and homework assignments. So why use OER? Affordability is a major concern for students, and the cost of textbooks plays a role in that. A survey conducted by the U.S. Public Interest Research Group found that about 7 in 10 college students said they had not purchased a textbook at least once because the price was too high. Another study done by the same group in 2020 found similar results, with 66% of all surveyed skipping buying or renting course materials at some point in their college career because of the cost. The 2020 survey also found that when asked if the students were concerned that not purchasing course materials would negatively impact their grade, 90% said yes for textbooks. 25% of students reported they worked extra hours to pay for their books and materials. 11% said they skipped meals to afford books and course materials. Faculty agree, with one survey showing 82% saying textbooks and course materials cost their students too much money. Using OER or other free materials removes the burden of additional costs for course materials away from the students, enabling them to access textbooks on day one without worrying about whether or not they can afford them. OER also allow faculty more control over the content they want their students to have access to. Instead of relying on traditional textbooks, OER can be adapted, remixed, and tailored to specific courses and specific student needs. OER supports open education and open sharing of research, leading to faster opportunities to improve content, use, and sharing of course materials with others. OER can also support student success and retention. Students have access to OER materials on day one, and they can freely download, print, and save OER for life. So now I'm going to transition briefly into the nuts and bolts of what make materials OER. For learning and teaching materials to be considered OER, it must pass the 5R activities and permissions listed here. Other users must be able to retain the materials, including managing and storing them on their own sites, course management software, websites, blogs, etc. Along with retaining the materials, users must be able to reuse the content within the OER in a class, study, for fun, in a video, or make a song, really in any medium they'd like. OER can be revised. They can be changed, adapted to fit different courses and educational styles, modified, and translated. You can also remix OER by combining it with other materials, revising and adding your own content, and relicensing all of that into a new improved OER that works well for your class. And all OER must be able to be redistributed, shared with a copyright license that allows anyone to later adopt, adapt, and implement the 5R activities. These are key components of OER that lie within the foundation of open education. It's about openly sharing to improve educational access and effectiveness worldwide, leading to more equity, connection, and collaboration. Because OER require the 5 Rs, they are licensed differently than traditional textbooks and other proprietary educational materials. OER will reside in the public domain or have a Creative Commons license. The 5 licenses here on this chart within the green arrow are all allow for the 5 Rs of OER. So I'm just going to very quickly go over each element and the acceptable OER licenses. Every Creative Commons license, except items listed in the public domain, require an attribution or by notice. You must always cite who created the work, and you can see that every OER license has the by included. If the license has SA, that means share alike, requiring that any adaptation you might make of the OER must include the same Creative Commons license as the material or resource you are adapting. NC means non-commercial, so others may use the work to remix, adapt, build on work, but they cannot use the work for commercial purposes. And each of these elements work in combination with each other to still provide the openness needed for OER, but with different limitations. And the copyright holder, the creator, is allowed to choose how they want their work to be licensed. The 2 licenses that are listed as not OER, They do not qualify as OER because of the ND, which means no derivatives, meaning you are free to copy, share, and redistribute the work, but if you remix, transform, or add to the material, you may not distribute it. So let's say you want to look into finding OER for your course, materials that might work, but also have the Creative Commons licensing to ensure that you're using OER. OER Commons, Open Textbook Library, and the Mason OER MetaFinder are great starting points. They each have search bars where you can enter in subject terms to find OER that will work for you. There are a lot of places you can search online. The UT Tyler OER Guide lists a lot of different databases that store OER. We also have on that guide information about the 5 R's of OER and ways to find and evaluate, search tips, and we've listed some OER by subject and class. If you're interested in creating OER, the process is pretty similar to creating other course content. OER can look like traditional textbooks like PDFs, slides, videos, or any other medium that you'd like. I recommend first looking into whether or not any OER exists in the subject areas you're interested in so that you can reuse those or add to them if you want to. The second most important step in creating an OER is selecting a copyright license that will allow for the 5 R's I discussed: reuse, retain, revise, remix, and redistribute. Generally, you can pick any of the Creative Commons licenses I showed that fall into the OER section. And when you're ready to pick a license, please feel free to reach out to the library so we can help you understand more clearly how your work will be used and shared. Then you will want to deposit an electronic copy of your material in a database online somewhere. You can upload a PDF to UT Tyler's institutional repository, ScholarWorks at UT Tyler, or you can upload it to any of the other OER search databases I showed earlier. If you want to use OER Text Repository, which is an open free site, there is actually an option on OER Text to use Open Author to write and create your OER. It has features to make it easier to add other OER materials, embed images or video, and will automatically be included in the OER Text database once you publish the work. And so on this slide, we've included links to learn more about OER, including 2 research guides that have specific details about licensing OER in general and searching for materials, and then also a link to UT Tyler's Affordable Textbook Adoption Grant, which is available for faculty. We allow a stipend to faculty who decide to adopt OER. So be on the lookout in your email for when we do a call for faculty who want to apply for this grant. Thank you for your time, and please reach out to the Muntz Library if you have any questions.